that these stories can reach in and inspire people. There we go, Jessica. We're off. That's us.
Hello.
Hello. We'll just tell everybody we're only had to be in recording for ages and it went off. But anyway, it's not good.
Yeah, Jessica was kind of gamming on, lads. I was just really gamming on.
Right.
No, really. I suppose, yeah, no, I was just talking to Terry there just before it knocked off, and just really talking about like when my addiction really kicked into effect, when it really, really got bad for me. And I suppose, 16, I started to experiment drugs. That was ecstasy. The music, the rave scene, the culture of the dance, literally was the most attractive thing in the world to me. And it was a magnet, and it drew me into the city centre. And I loved it. And I loved going dancing. I lived for the weekends. I loved being around my friends and that party scene of life, But that was possibly a good time. But then I suppose there was a time then when we were all back in a house, and there was one of the lads smoking what I thought was hash oil, because that's what they told me it was back in the day. And I mean, when you look back, like heroin back in the day was not introduced to me as heroin. And I'm not saying it would have changed anything for me. Is all I'm saying is it was introduced to me as hash oil. It was introduced to me as smack. It was introduced to me as gear, actually.
Yeah.
That was the bit of gear,
Mm-hmm.
And I was so naive to it, but I'll tell you what it done for me was that night when I was in that house, I was so wired to the moon on ecstasy. And, I had me rave clothes on me, all me colours, bopping, oots, giving it loads, in the house, loving life.
Yeah.
And I looked over at this lad across from me, and he's on the file, and there was like a ritual effect to what he was doing. It was a bit captivating, and it was another drawing me into what he was doing. And again, it was introduced to me as gear, but as what I could see was he was buzzing the same as me 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden he's coming down.
Yeah.
And it took me a day or two to come down. So like I needed to
good part.
Yeah, the come down, like honestly, and in my head, the come down from me is more about I need to be a mammy tomorrow. I need to get back to the kids. I have to get back to work. How do I function? So again, I ended up taking this bit of brown stuff at the time as introduced to me as gear, and went upstairs, hadn't a clue what I was doing, but it didn't take me long before I was an expert at rolling. And I just fell in love with smoking heroin. In fact, I realized that it was the one thing that allowed me really, really escape from the reality of just living. And I say that because my life at the time, I was a young mother. I was doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
But, everyone was always watching me, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that with the kids. And I just wasn't present in my life. And I was around friends that, criminality was hugely part of what we were up to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just was lost in it all. And I just, was building my identity around all of this. But it really wasn't who I was, So heroin for me detached me away from all of that in a sense,
Yeah.
But I suppose, again, smoking for the first time, you're getting a goof, you're getting a stone, and you're getting a buzz.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long for that buzz to turn into a little bit of a withdrawal. And it took, as I say, it could have took a couple of months. I can't really pinpoint the time on it, but I do remember a time where, I woke up one day and I was just not well. I didn't feel right. And I had me methadone to collect in the clinic in the Ashland. And at the time, they put me on 55 mils. And I thought by going on to this methadone, that was going to be the best thing. And it was going to be the saving grace for my life. And I was going to get my life together and do the best for my kids and all that.
Yeah.
It just turned out to be the worst thing ever, because the clinic they put me on was at 5:30 in the day. So I'm up early with the kids in the morning, getting them to school, doing all that mammy stuff. And then I'm sitting with myself and I'm dying sick, and it's only 2 in the day.
All day, how do you?
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is not working, straight on the file again, burning, getting lost again in it, going up and getting me fi. And when I say the walk of shame walking up to that Ashland clinic, it was genuinely that for me. You
Yeah.
know, I used to have me nanny looking out the window. She lived on Ballyfermot Road, Lord of mercy on her. And she'd be pointing at me and she'd be like, get back down here with the kids now, or I'll mind them, you grow up. And it
Yeah.
was just horrible. There was all shame attached to all of that, you know.
Yeah. And then
So
you
I remember, yeah, like it just was. And I remember like there was a time where the kid's dad was on going to prison. And of course, I was doing the duty, wasn't I, going up and visiting and doing all those things that you done back in the day. And I basically was trying to feed me habit also. So I'd gone down to get a bit of heroin for myself to do me for the week. So I'd gone to the local, when I say the local, to the buyers to get me stuff.
yeah.
And I didn't realise the guards were watching me at the time. And I was followed, and I was at the buying an eighth of heroin, and it was for my own personal use to keep me going for a few days. And I got nicked, I got arrested, and I was up in court. And I went to the district court, and I was up in front of Judge Gillian Hussey at the time. She's in the Commainham.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story cut short, she sent me forward for trial. She says that she wasn't going to deal with her in the courts, and she says, you're going to high courts. And I says, oh my God. And I remember standing there because I was always there for the kids' dad. I was never really there for myself.
Yeah.
But she knew me face. She knew me face. And I'm standing there in the courtroom, and I straight away turned around and said, Your Honour, please, I'm a mother of two. Oh, please don't send me forward. Deal with this here. I'm pleading for my
Yeah.
life. They put that in the paper, you know, made it show me. But
Yeah.
anyway, went to courts, then the four courts. And I remember my father coming into the courts with me. And my dad asked the barrister, like, what's going to happen today? And he said, oh, no, she's going to prison. My dad looked at me and he says, run. Get out of here now, he says to me. Now I'm looking at him, and this is my father, and he's
Out the
giving me,
door.
he's genuinely giving me permission to go. And I just said straight away, but Dad, what about the kids? Get out of here, he said. So of course I legs it out of the courtroom, met him around the corner. He went to the bank machine, whipped out loads of money for me. I was on the ferry, didn't even know where it was going. Got over to the UK, was talking to people on the boat. Where do you go? And you know, an Irish person, you know, I mean, look at me. I was in my 20s running to the UK, and I landed anyway.
Were you strung out?
Yeah, hugely strung out. I mean, at that time, I was, you know, was on the methadone, I was on the heroin, and smoking now, taking every tablet that could be given to me. Antidepressants, thinking I was depressed. There ain't nothing wrong with me. I was just strung out to the backbone.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't injecting at that time, Terry, and at that time I, you know, wasn't taking crack cocaine. But when I went to London, I was introduced to crack cocaine over there on a whole new level because it was so cheap over there. You know, you'd get a 10 rock, and you'd be rocking that up for a few rocks,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just got introduced to all that over there, and
So it just went
yeah,
down.
just went downhill for me. I ended up coming back then to Ireland, and I had to go in and serve my time. I was arrested immediately when I hit Ballyfermot. They knew me,
Yeah.
so straight to the joy. I went up to Doka Centre, and I got a 3-year sentence and a review after 13 months, and done the 13 months. Got out on the conditions of all of that. And sign on in the Garda station and sign on in the police station, just a ball and chain around my neck again, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't keep the conditions of it. So I was lawfully at large. So I went on the run again. But by this time I was after making friends within the prison.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a bit of grooming going on behind the walls in regards to you could do this to make money and you need to come to the UK. And it just
You
sounded
learn
so
all sorts in prison, yeah.
massively, you know. So anyway, went on the run again. Family seeing what was happening, they just shielded in the children again. Jessica disappeared, you know, and went over to the UK, and then just got involved in drug muling all around the UK to feed me habit. Stayed over there for another little bit because I couldn't come home because I knew I was having to go to prison. And then eventually I came home because the crack brought me to my knees, just brought me to my knees, you know. At the time, I still wasn't injecting. I didn't even go that far. But I came back to Dublin and went in, finished off my time, and got out. And the kid's father passed away. And it was just one of them where, you know, I didn't expect this to happen in my life. It was one of those things where it was like, you really caught me, you know, and I was
Really low
thinking,
point.
yeah, it was like, you know, this is real, this stuff, like, you know, and I didn't deal very well with it, to be fair, and I turned to the needle within weeks of his death, and I actually took drugs to die. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be in this world.
Mm.
Anytime I put heroin into on the spoon and cooked it up, I just wanted to die. And I've had few overdoses, and I tell you, I'm like Lazarus at the time, because I don't know how I actually
Still here.
survived, you know. I remember ODing in a hotel room, and the cleaning lady came in, and I was on the ground, needle was in my arm the whole, and they told me all this. I don't remember. I just was shifted up to them at the hospital. It's like they're booking a room in a hotel in town somewhere. And yeah, like I remember that being one of the moments where my family came up to me and just looked at me and said, you know, you need to change your life. And I
Yeah.
didn't, because I just didn't want to live, you know. I didn't know how to pull it together, Terry, and there wasn't a treatment centre out there that was going to put their hands on me, you
Mm.
know. I found it very difficult to make the changes in my life. And yeah, so I suppose that being said, I then yeah, I got involved in a relationship with a guy, and it got very messy, and I got brutally attacked, and I got stabbed 7 times. And that was another part of my life where my sister was due to be married that week, and I'm in hospital with stitches in my face, you know, in my chest, my legs, just broke up, just like I was in a war, you know, just like the enemy was trying to destroy me, really trying to destroy me. And
Yeah.
I remember, like, looking back on those pictures now, when I look at my sister's wedding, I'm not part of that, you know what I mean? Because I was in the hospital getting stitches and all, you know. So a lot
Yeah.
of guilt, a lot of shame attached to all of that stuff. And I suppose, yeah, I just didn't know how to get well. I didn't know how to get right. Everything I tried to, everything I touched, I actually destroyed. I'm being honest, whether it was my family, whether it was my children, whether it was myself. And I was on a self-destruct buzz, really and truly.
Mm.
And I I done a TV show recently in February, and I shared this on the show. There was a time where I just said, right, this is it, game over, I'm done. I want to tap out of this world. My mind became an absolute toothache. The pain of suicidal thoughts in my head was destroying me daily. And I remember saying, right, today is the day. Bought the heroin, cooked it up, put it in the syringe, got me methadone, popped a load of pills. And I ended up in the Assumption Church, because like that, you're from my area, and
Yeah.
the Assumption Church is in Ballyferma. And I walked into the church, and I said, right, I'm going to come in here now, and I'm going to die around there, because I'll be found,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll come around, the cleaners will be cleaning, and then they'll find me. In
Mm-hmm.
so many ways I wanted to be found, you know.
Yeah.
So long story short, goes into the church, and I said, I'm here now to light a candle for my children. I'm here to light a candle for my parents. It was my way of saying sorry, because I was going to end my life, you know. I just didn't feel like wanted to be here, and I didn't feel part of this world. And out of nowhere, this lady walked over to me, and she placed her hands on my shoulder, and she said to me, light a candle for yourself. And I just looked at her, and the essence of her voice was absolutely captivating, because it paused me. And
Mm.
for a moment, I disconnected down my mind, and I connected with my heart. And I said it like, light a candle for me. She's
Mm.
thinking of me. I wasn't even thinking of myself. I was thinking of my children. I was thinking of my mother.
Yeah.
So I remember having just a moment in that church where I feel like it was the Lord. I know it was the Lord. It was the very day that his life was revealed to me. And I remember standing there, and I remember just looking around the church and seeing all the crucifixions of our Lord Jesus. And I remember looking up, and the story of it all just came alive to me. And I remember hearing them as a kid. Now, you have to remember, I walked in there to take my life. Something was happening here. I'm
Mm.
now looking up at Jesus on the cross. And I just felt captivated. I felt like, you know, I was being elevated and lifted down myself, you know. And I felt like, you know, something was happening and taking place in this church. And
Yeah.
then I looked up, and I seen our Lord on the cross. And I just cried, and I just seen something that was so powerful in my heart and in my mind that I left that church that day and I didn't want to take my life. I didn't want to die, you know. I actually threw my drugs away, Terry, to be honest with you, but
No,
I regretted it 10 minutes later. But something had to die that
that's
day.
amazing.
And I threw the drugs away, and it was that week, it was 2008. It's mad because this is the Lord and this is how he works. Victory Outreach was part of a church that was up on the Kylemore Road,
Yeah,
and they were out doing a rally out on the street a few days
that's
before.
beautiful.
Yeah, you know, very radical shouting and all of that. But
Mm,
I was walking down Lifonia Road and I found a flyer on the ground,
yeah,
and I had the Victory Homes on it.
right.
And then I bumped into them in a van. Long story cut short, that was my entry, and that's where I went for treatment, right?
Yeah.
Now, I went in with my bottle of I actually hid it in the jacks. Because I was thinking I'll be back tomorrow for a bit of that. Now, I didn't realise they were going to clean the place. They got the bottle with my name on it and whipped me over. But anyway, I
Yeah.
went in Christmas Eve 2008. And you know something?
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it was so significant for me because, you know, seeing and knowing what happened in the church on that day, I kind of joined up dots with, you know, where Lord Jesus was 33 when he passed away. I was 33 when I went into treatment.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, you know, Christmas Day is new birth, kind of new season, all of those things. So I kind of connected myself in around that type of stuff where, because I have to, for something to work for me, it has to be
Yeah, I get you.
significant.
I get you.
But anyway, went into the home, and it was an absolute culture shock. That's all I can say. Yeah, it was one of those things where I knew nothing and I went in. And I'll tell you, when I went in, my mind was blown from what I witnessed, you know, because I definitely witnessed love and compassion. There was a lot of
On
girls in
a
the
different
home.
scale. Yeah.
Yeah, they just really minded me and took care of me. And, you know, by Christmas Day, sure, it was, I think at that time it was a Sunday, and we were back in church on the Sunday. And, you know, I'm sitting there rattling down through me, rattle. And, you know, it wasn't that bad. It didn't really kick in till the third day, you know. But I'm not going to sit here and say that it was easy. You know, the Lord definitely didn't deliver me from that. He certainly
Mm.
didn't. He wanted me to go through it tough, and it did.
Mm.
No, I mean, my stomach was in bits for days. I hadn't some yet, but there was a blessing in it all for me because they had like iPods and they gave them to me for sleep. And it was the first time I heard worship music. And I was like a sponge, you
Yeah.
know, lying in the bed, going through a rat, me
Oh,
body shaking, sweating, the whole lot, me mind tormented
yeah.
because that was my reality. But I'll tell you, that worship music,
Mm.
it just gave
Does
me
something, doesn't it?
in my mind, and it was so beautiful, you know. And them songs are in my heart today. Like I just sing them all the time, you know, all the old worship music. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I stayed there with Victory Outreach for 6 months, and then I moved on to a different treatment centre, to Teen Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there, and all in all, like my treatment in residential was 27 months, you know,
It's a long
because I
way.
21 with Teen Challenge and 6 with Victory Outreach.
Yeah. Of
So altogether was 27. But I had a lot of stuff I needed to work on, and I gave myself the
course.
permission. And my family just took over the kids and just allowed me to get well, you know. So
Yeah.
that was the blessing in disguise. So when I came out of treatment, I graduated, and it was fantastic to receive a certificate because you've worked hard for it, you know. And I was very
Yeah.
proud of it. And then from that, then I came out, and I still didn't know what I was going to do with my life, but I knew I had a lot to give, but I just didn't know how to go about it. And I threw myself back into adult education. By that stage now, I'm rocking 35, do you know what I mean? And thinking, I'm too old for all of this, you know what I mean? But I went back to adult education, and I studied community development, and then I went on and done addiction study course, level 5, and then I went to Maynooth College and I've done level 7, and then I've done recovery coaching, and I just kept going. And
Yeah.
then I picked up a job, and I was a key worker, evening supervisor to Tiglin's residential treatment, working with women, pouring back into their lives, you know.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing to do all of that, you know. So yeah,
And
sorry, I'm at the wrong.
since then, since you came out of the 27 months, you haven't looked back. That's it.
No,
Kept going.
no. Do you know something? I don't want to be looking back in any of it. I love to talk about my life. I love to talk about where the Lord has brought me through, because it's only Him. The victory is in the Lord for me. People say to me, like, Jess, you know, why did you go into a Christian program? And I'm going to be honest, the real truth for me is that nothing else would have worked for me. I needed a new way. I needed principles and values and a new way of living, so that I have a real book to life. Because if I don't have that real book to life, I'm going to start slipping, and I'm going to be on the fence, and I'm going to be doing whatever, and my head will do a number on me.
Folks, yeah.
And it is, you know, for me, it's what I need, and it's working for me, you know. And I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and be all the halo up here. It's not all of that. It's just saying that, you know, recovery is beautiful when you allow yourself to get well and give yourself the permission to do it, you know. And yeah.
And how is things going for you today? Like, as in, yeah, that's an amazing, that's amazing. That's amazing. That story, that where
Yes.
you were coming from, the day the church,
Yeah.
up in over to England,
Oh,
back
yeah.
again. Oh,
I
wow.
love the UK though. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
but that's what it
Yeah.
has done for you. It's robbed. It's
Rob.
robbed
Yeah.
many years. So when you're sitting here talking, I think the Lord has given you back. He's given
Yeah.
you back. Do you know what I mean? Years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you
Or
know what
he's
I
just,
mean?
yeah, like he's just so good. Like, you know, I mean, my life at the moment is like,
It's tough,
yeah,
but
we've come out of a pandemic, Terry. You know, you've been in it, I've been in it, and it hasn't been easy for any of us. But you know something, I've been really busy. I've been all over the telly for the past year, and the Lord is just like lifting me up. He's raising me up, and you know why He's doing it? He wants recovery to be made visible, and He wants me to be a testament onto His goodness and His grace. And I mean, if there's anything that I can do in regards to recovery, like doing this is an honor to be sitting here with yourself in recovery yourself, having this chat and having this conversation. We're from the same area, we know the same people. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've been over to the UK and seen you at church and all over there, and I love it. And it's like, you know, it's like we all kind of just like anyone that's in recovery, we all just kind of come like family in a sense, you know, because we
just we
get
were
it.
on that same road, just to try to do
Yeah,
better than what we
that's it.
were.
Yeah, like I push myself all the time. Like I'm a goal person. I'm one of these, like I need to be doing this, and this, you know, like I set myself targets. I mean,
Yeah,
I was on a weight loss journey 2 years ago, and I lost actually 20k weight. I
fair play to you.
don't
I've
even know
seen the
where.
pictures. Fair play to
Yeah,
you. Well done.
yeah, like I just really started to invest into myself, and give myself, you know, all the goodness that I deserved.
You
And
missed out on.
yeah, you know, just missed out on it all, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what you're doing. I think you're that type of person. I think that you have to keep busy. You have to have that stuff to do and these little goals to set.
Yeah.
Jessica needs to stay busy.
But look, if my
Look
head
at your
doesn't move.
teeth. Look, give us a smile. Uh,
I know, yeah. I love them. They're great. Do you know, I had these are from Turkey, lads. If you want to know where I got them, just send me a message. I'll get I'm joking. But I had originally got a gap in me teeth, and my teeth were good. But I was always insecure about it. And I just think that, you know, this new person that I've become, I just want a whole new identity. I want to look different. And when people see me and they remember me, they're like, oh my God, look at you. And
yeah,
that's, you know, that's a good thing. It's not full of pride. I'm very humble, you know. I'm happy in my life. I'm at peace in my mind.
yeah, and it's great. It's great to have you on. It's great talking to you, Jessica, because, like you say, we're from the same neck of the woods. We know
Yeah.
a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of it's just the way we where we were reared. You know what I mean? It became a crazy place for a lot of us, as in
Yeah.
you know, darkness with the drugs, the heroin, the naps, whatever the case may
yeah,
be. The
yeah,
fight clinic, I used to hate going to the fight clinics.
yeah,
Used to hate it. That walk of shame. It was, you'd see people going in to be 60 and 50 and 60 years of age.
yeah. And that's what we were mixed up with, and we were young, like, do you know what I mean? And I will say, like, even going into treatments, you know, and I need people that's listening to this to know that, you know, when I went into treatment and the drugs started to come out of my system, and I had to look at myself in the mirror
Yeah.
and start accepting myself again. It
Hmm.
was tough. It was very tough to deal with the choices, decisions that I made. You know what I mean? But I began to open up about them and I began to forgive myself. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I mean that with all of my heart. I had to forgive me. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean? For not being a good mother, for not being a good sister, for not being a decent parent. Well, I was decent in my community. I never seen anyone sick. And
Yeah.
don't ever say you ever got sick.
No, the drugs come first, and that's for any drug addict. The
Yeah,
drugs come first, and
yeah,
we
no,
all
they did.
feel that. I know just
Yeah, yeah,
no, here it's part of the enemy robs. The enemy
yeah,
robs us. Do you know what I mean? The heroin.
yeah. Mm,
Heroin, them the kids out there or whoever's out there thinking that they're going, come here, it's running out of time.
yeah,
10 minutes. It's good. It's got to
right.
your head
So I
this time.
suppose if
No,
there was
but
anything, yeah,
yeah, sorry, just the people that are going out, if you
mm,
were to be that young person again and you were going out to the clubs or something, and
yeah,
if you could switch someone on, like
yeah,
how would you tell them? And they just wanted to live and just wanted to be going out for the buzz. What
yeah,
could you say? What could you say that switch someone's? Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I suppose there's a song, and it's very well known. I think the Verb sing it, isn't it?
The
And it
drugs.
goes, yeah, the drugs don't work; they just make you worse.
Yeah.
You know, and it is truth in it all. There is a time where, and I learned this in college, there's an experimental stage of addiction, and it's a time where there's fun involved in it, but
Hmm.
then it becomes problematic. And when the problems start to come in, when you're not getting enough for work or you're fighting with your family, that's where it's not good and it's not
You're
happening. And you
hiding
know what I mean?
stuff.
You're hiding secrets, lies, all of those things. And if you're at that place and you owe money out and you're getting lay-ons, you're in trouble. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's all I'm saying to you is that there is a way out before you get caught, like I did and went to prison. But prison
Hmm.
for me was a lifeline. You know, I needed it and I got it, and it's made me who I am today. But if I was to reach out to somebody, it's just ask yourself those questions. It's like, you know, like what am I getting from this now? You know what I mean? Is the drugs working or are they not working? Do you know what I mean? And everyone, I suppose, they're just at different places in their life where they still think they can go out and operate and do that things on the weekends. And then, as I would have always said, the session depression kicks in and it's a killer on your mental health. Like, you know, so you ask yourself the questions, is it worth it? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, I mean, if for me, it's like if anyone was listening to this and, you know, needed some help or needed support in any area and just wanted to have a chat, like I'm on social media, I'm on Instagram, I'm open to any kind of conversations in regards to recovery. I'm happy to talk to anyone. In fact, I take a lot of time out of my day to do that for people because
Yeah.
I was that person and I know the people that reached out to me and spoke life into my life, you know, and some people just need a little bit of direction and a little bit of support and a safe
Yeah.
place to be able to share, isn't it?
Yeah. Come on now. Thanks, Jessica. That was very good. I enjoyed that little chat. It was
Yeah.
nice getting to talk about your testimony. Hopefully, this is why we throw it out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, somebody will look at it, and you never know who it'll help. But no, it
And
was
that's
nice.
it.
It was nice chatting with you.
It was
And
great to chat with you, Terry. It's great to be on and it's great to be, you know, making recovery as visible as it is because we do recover. You know,
yeah,
it takes time for us, but it happens, it works, and it's worth it. And God is so gracious and He's so good.
yeah, we need more centres around Ireland,
Well, bring, come on now. That's what we need.
and that's hopefully there's going to be a victory outreach set up. It's and many other places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Set up
Yeah.
and you know, because there's a big cry out for it out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tough. And I mean, working in the services that I've been working in, there's a criteria to get into treatment now. And the
Yeah,
reality of it is that they want you to be somewhat drug free going into treatment. And that's not possible for people. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, yeah, it's just not.
No, give us a smile before you go. No, it was nice talking to you, Jessica.
Right,
And
you give us
I
a
wanna
smile before you go. Right, I want to take a picture as well. God, I can't even get my little face in because I'm taking the picture. Go. Right, you probably better off sending me your one.
no, it was great talking to you, Jessica. And
Yeah,
it's definitely it's great to put it out there, and I appreciate you. And hopefully, I can do this again, which
yeah,
in 6 months or something, see how things is
yeah,
going, and so
yeah.
we probably be out on the streets in Ballyfermot, and anyway with VO.
Amen. You bring her on, brother. You bring
You
that on.
take care, Jessica, and thanks, right?
Thank you. Bye now.
Okay, God bless. Take
Bye.
care.